But and then like I wasn't with him anymore, but also this is at the same time where it was like my student teacher and I were kind of a thing. He preyed on me. Took advantage of me. But my dad and my ex stepmother took his side when he said I was obsessed, when it wasn't the truth. Like, yeah, I was groomed to be, you know, like, they didn't believe me. And so, like, I still would call him sometimes, but then I was just looking for love, you know. I didn't know any better. And so, like, that family I was living with was, like, a friend that I went to school with. Her parents or her mom or whatever was going to kick me out because of that incident with their grandson, which I didn't even do anything to him. And, like, I had a whole bunch of pictures of a photo of him and, like, a whole bunch of poems. And I think the older son, like, burned them or something. It was just so weird. So, like, that's why pictures and stuff are important to me, and to back them up and stuff. So, because I lost a whole bunch of fucking memories because of that. But then they have a younger son. Like, my friend's twin brother was really kind to me. And he would just, like, he was protective of me. We never went out, but I think we were on the verge of it. I don't know. Really don't know. He was, like, protective of me. But because I wasn't, like, the only way I didn't get kicked out is because, their older sister was, like, the one with the toddler was, like, no, don't kick her, you know, like, so I was, like, her responsibility and stuff. So, like, everybody always was, like, it was so confusing in my life because everybody was always, like, after I was like, my mom neglected me, and then, like, when I was with my ex-stepmother and then on up until I was, like, 19, it was, like, they would be like, they would make up lies about me, and I didn't understand what was going on, like, what I was doing wrong. Like, nothing I ever did was good enough, and just, like, I was so hated, and it was so, like, that I was there a little while longer, and then at the end I got to meet their aunt, who was, like, super kind, not crazy and psychotic like they said. I don't know where all they are now. I don't talk to them. When I had just had, I think it was Diana. Yeah. She was, like, not even she was a month old. We went back to Nebraska to visit. I tried to visit that friend that I lived with, and she just kind of, like, left me hanging and didn't actually show up. So I don't know anything. But yeah, like, her older sister was just a little bit older, not the one that took responsibility of me, but the other one. Me and her became closer, and she was the one helping me, like, okay, this is what you got, what are the first things you should do, like, you know, like, trying to help me, whenever, because I was moving in with my mom. I lived in Nebraska at the time, you know, and I was, like, my mom lived in Kansas, and so, like, I was just gonna go live with her. And it seemed like my ex-stepmother always tried to keep me from her, which is true. But yeah, I stayed with my aunt for, like, a couple of days until I got on the bus to Kansas, live with my mom. So then, yeah, I lived with my mom for a while, and I got there on I left on the bus on November 5th, and I got there on November 7th, and so I was, like, 18. And so, like, then my mom's ex was, like, I don't know, I had to get a job and I was there November, and then like by May I had to get my own place. So I got my own place. And once I got my own place, it was like my mom wouldn't help me very much or anything. She wouldn't even give me rides. I had to walk to work. And luckily it wasn't that far, but still, like, yeah, they set you up for this homelessness shit, and they set you up to fail. And so like I've just been struggling my whole life. And I'm disabled because of it. I get disability, so, and I'm trying to figure out ways, like talents or whatever, like artistic like stuff to, you know, I'm trying to sell things, but it's like I don't feel like I'm good enough, so of course I'm not selling them, you know, like, but a part of me is like, why isn't it good enough? This stuff is cute to me, and like, I don't know, it just sucks. So yeah, then when I met my first husband, I was like 19, and then I ended up moving to North Carolina with him. He, of course, love bombed me, and that was my first quote unquote love, when it was, all that shit was trauma bonds until I believe the only person I truly loved is my roommate, and then for sure my twin. But yeah, his family was also full of narcs. You weren't supposed to talk about anything outside of, like, you weren't supposed to, because there was one time I talked about the stuff that went on in the house and how the dad was kind of abusive to the adopted daughters, and I talked about it to a church friend, and she, like, that's why she stopped going to our church. And then like I got in so much trouble there, like, you don't remember what you said. It was just, I couldn't remember because my brain was like, I was freaked out, like I was panicky, and I wasn't trying to get them in trouble. I was just confiding in a friend, and it was just, yeah, it was a mess. I got out of that, so I'm used to a lot of that shit. And like this breakup, you could say, is like the most healthy one I've had, aside from, well, I don't know if my twin and it was the separation, you know, that's different. It was not like toxic, but like the situation was, like, our connection isn't toxic. But my roommate and I don't know, like, still talking to my ex-friend, but between us it's not toxic. We still got, like, I don't know, so it's weird navigating it. But yeah, that's my story, the homeless shit and everything. Oh yeah, whenever I was a teenager, you know, because in Nebraska you have to be 19 to be an adult. When I was 18 and I did leave, they got me emancipated. I wanted to get emancipated, so yeah. I can talk more about my other story, like more of my story later, but I think I did a lot today, so yeah. Hope you have a great rest of your day, Valentine's Day.